Hey guys, welcome back to Just a Geek in the Garage. Today I want to talk about precision screwdrivers from Snap-on, the ones that you kind of see here in front of you, and which ones I like, which ones I would skip, things like that. I've done another video for all of my Snap-on screwdrivers, the regular ones at least, not the precision ones. But so now I have kind of a full set of precision screwdrivers, and I decided to do another similar video. Some of these screwdrivers that you see here have been kind of featured or at least mentioned in other videos, specifically this guy right here, the precision one that comes with interchangeable tips. But just kind of wanted to go over this set here and just show you what I like and what I don't like. So basically, for precision screwdrivers with Snap-on, most people kind of are familiar with these two sets right here. This one is just the one with the two slotted, and the Phillips number, I believe it's 1 and 0. And then also the Torx T8, T10, T15, and T20. Both of these sets I did buy brand new. This one just happened to come without the tray. I don't really need the tray because I kind of put them in here when I have them in my toolbox. And then there is this set right here that I ordered. I've had this one now, I want to say maybe 7-8 months or so. And it's one of my few kind of really disappointments from Snap-on, at least purchases that I've made. A lot of times I'll buy stuff from Snap-on and, either I'm happy with my purchase or it's just kind of like, maybe the fit and finish isn't quite where I want. This is one of the only things where I bought and I very, very seriously considered returning it. I ended up not, just because of kind of the hassle, because I ended up buying this one online versus through a truck, where if I would have bought it from the truck, I probably would have returned it directly to my dealer. But since that's happened, I do have a dealer now, so if it happens in the future, at least now I can kind of return this. But anyways, let me kind of go on here with just kind of going over these. These two sets here I've only had for a little while. This one I got maybe about, I want to say, a few weeks ago to a month ago, but I've really been wanting this set for a long time. And the reason why is because I work on a lot of electronics, kids' toys, stuff like that. So Phillips number 1 and 0 come in handy quite a bit. The smaller slotted, not quite as much. They're nice to have. But then also these Torx really do come in handy. These ones I've only had for maybe about a week or two. Once I got this set and I was actually happy with this set, I decided to pull the trigger on this set as well. I mean, for small screwdrivers, as you can imagine, it's Snap-on. They're going to be expensive. These ones, I think both these sets retail for somewhere in around the $70 range. Both of them I did get a pretty good deal on, so I didn't pay quite that much, but definitely a lot more than you would pay for a normal set of screwdrivers. This set right here was, I think, about either 29 or 139. I forget exactly what it was. I was actually really excited to get this one because, again, since I use a lot of precision screwdrivers, I saw these guys. I was like, you know what, this thing is going to be perfect. It has, a Phillips. It has a slotted, dedicated ones, and then it has the one with just kind of the regular bit driver here that fits these 4mm bits. And so I thought, this was going to be my kind of, end all be all when it comes to precision screwdrivers. But when I got it in the mail, a couple things. See if I can get this on screen. It's just the fit and finish, and I've talked about this before, is just, can't get this in focus. It's just not great at all. I mean, just the way kind of things are cut off, the seams, things like that. Like when I got this is something that I would imagine that I would have bought from, Harbor Freight, 20 years ago. Not something that I get from Snap-on. And the other thing, again, this is kind of my fault, is that these are made in Spain, not made in the USA. So basically this is, kind of a Bahco product, which, Bahco is a company that Snap-on owns. But whenever you see made in Spain, usually it means, Bahco is the manufacturer, just kind of made to Snap-on specs. But, when I got this, don't get me wrong, it works exactly how it's supposed to. I've definitely used these a bit, but all this where it kind of looks used, this is exactly how they came, from the factory. So, and it was fully sealed, so I know it wasn't used. And again, it wasn't from a truck, it was directly from Snap-on. So, I've been very disappointed in a few things like that from them lately. And then the other thing about this guy is going to be just kind of the foam. When I got these things were all over the place, a bunch of dents in the foam. And I've had this thing, like I said, 7-8 months, and it never kind of, went back to shape. But again, I probably should have returned it when I had the time. but I just decided to kind of keep it. I mean, it is useful. It has a bunch of little bits, and it has, again, this 4mm bit driver. So for what, I kind of need it for, it definitely works. One thing that I wasn't a huge fan of is, the bits that kind of go in here. You're going to have, obviously, a much thicker profile around here when you're working on electronics. And if you're working on something that is smaller, where, maybe the well the screw is in is closer in size to kind of the tip of these are just not going to fit. And sometimes I have computers and stuff that I work on that are like that, or laptops, I should say, where there's kind of a deeper well for the screw, and something like this doesn't work. So enough about this guy. I'm not, again, that big a fan of it. I have it. It's here. One alternative that I did do a video on that I'd probably recommend that's, less than half the price, about a third the price, would be this TEKTON set right here that you can pick up for around $50. Has an actual, it's a metal little bit driver, and then it has the same kind of 4mm bits. But, one thing I like about this is the 4mm bits stick out just a little bit further than they do within the snap-on, so you might be able to get it into some tighter areas, potentially. But so for around $50, like I said, and it comes with a way more bits, as you can see, versus this. So it's a more wide applications than something like this. So I would say avoid this one. If you see it, just, keep moving on, unless you're going to pick this thing up, maybe, used or something from somewhere else for, if you're going to get it for $50-$60, maybe, but for $140, it's definitely a skip for me. Now, these guys are a different animal. These ones, since I've gotten them, I've been playing around with them, both the Torx, specifically the T8, and then the Phillips on here as well. The T8 for me has been a great kind of addition, because when you're working with a T8, it's very, very small, and I have some other T8 screwdrivers that I've tried where you can't really get a great grip on certain things. One thing that I use these for, and if you guys have a lot of ratchets, whether it's Snap-on or whether it's Icon, use something like a T8. And it's great to have something that's going to fit in here that you can put some pressure on without having to worry about the screwdriver breaking or slipping, because a lot of times, and especially when it comes to, for example, the new Icon G2, they put a ton of what is that called, like the thread lock stuff on there, to where when if I tried to use a regular kind of T8 from something else, I just couldn't get it off until I used something like this from Snap-on. And actually, ironically enough, the one from Icon worked as well. So if you guys have seen these sets here, you've probably seen these sets as well. So obviously, Icon's kind of a direct borrow from these Snap-on ones right here, same sizing, T8, 10, 15, and 20. The overall, when you kind of look at these, they're very, very, very similar. But, the Snap-on, even these little Instinct grips, I think they're still called Instinct grip, even on the small guys. I definitely do prefer over the Icon. But when it's something this small, it doesn't make as big of a difference as it does from the bigger guys. But, if you're willing to go out and spend, $50, $60, maybe even more for something like this, I definitely recommend these. Especially if you do a lot of work with electronics. Although for around $15, you can get the Icon version, and again, they're probably going to work just as well for you. And kind of same thing when it comes to these guys right here. Icon has the same basic set here in the tray for also around $15 or so. If they vary in price, I know sometimes they're 15, sometimes they're 20. They also do go on sale quite a bit, and there's always coupons that you can get for up to 30%, depending on the time of year. So, what I'm basically going to say about these guys is they're definitely a luxury item to have within the precision screwdriver world. If it's something you're willing to spend the money on and you work on enough precision parts, I think these are definitely worth it. Because I find myself grabbing for these whenever I can. Part of that's because, I spent the money for them, so, why not? I might as well get some good use out of them. Lifetime warranty, obviously, just like most of the other tools that you see here in front of you. And I do have a great snap-on guy to where if something breaks, he replaces it, no questions asked. So if you have a good snap-on guy like that, it's great. If not, you can always turn it into snap-on via, you can call them, return it over, they'll give you a prepaid envelope, they'll send you out a new one. Sometimes if you're just replacing one piece like this, like I know I've broken picks that are, I'm replacing one piece at a time. Most of the time they don't even have you return the item, they just kind of send it out to you. And obviously with Icon, you can just walk into a Harbor Freight. So last kind of piece, I know I said I was done talking about these, but one nice alternative to these guys, if you don't want to spend the money on the, sorry for that noise, money on the TEKTON, that I said were about $50 for about $15 you can get this Quinn set right here with kind of a comprehensive set of precision screwdrivers. Not interchangeable, it's all just kind of single. Each one of these is a single use, but you got the same thing. You got your Torx, you got your slotted, you have your Phillips, but these ones go much smaller than even these guys will go. But obviously, there's always going to be alternatives that you can get. But again, if you're willing to kind of pay the luxury prices, or sometimes you can go on eBay and find these things for relatively cheap, especially if you don't care about the color. I highly recommend these. I highly recommend skipping this. So tell me, what do you guys think? Are you guys willing to pay, 60, 70 bucks for a set of 4 precision screwdrivers? Or is this an absolute waste of money and you would go with, something else? And, just leave that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.